Welcome to our CCB Advent Reflections. Today we pause to notice where peace feels missing or absent and to turn our hearts towards Jesus, our source of true and lasting peace. Colossians 3:15. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. The title that I have been given is Peace Through Prayer. Immediately I read that, my mind was taken back to a time in my life around 20 years ago when I learnt something about those words and how it worked in real life. My husband Tony had been to the hospital and various scans appeared to show a growth on one of his kidneys. They suspected cancer. Back in those days, tests were taken and it took about 6 weeks for the results to come through. We were in a waiting season, but I couldn't focus on anything except what was going to happen to Tony. Fear gripped me. What if it was cancer? What did that mean for me and for the children? I couldn't think of anything else. About 2 days into this waiting period, I was praying and saying to Jesus that I couldn't live life like this for the next 6 weeks. I was stressed out of my mind and could only think of Tony, the suspected cancer, and the dread of what could happen. I knew that I should give it to Jesus, and I had been, but it wasn't working. The fear and dread were still there even after I'd prayed. I felt I had nothing to lose, so I started to pray slightly differently. I imagined in my mind that I was wrapping all the fear and dread and worry up in a box and handing it to Jesus. As I did that, I just said to Jesus that I was giving all this stuff to him in exchange for his peace in the situation. The first time I did this, immediately after the prayer, it came back again. And that's how it worked for the first 10 minutes or so. I would pray and give it all to Jesus, and I would exchange it for his peace. And back would come the worries literally as I ended the prayer. I had nothing to lose and I couldn't help the situation, but I knew that Jesus could. So I went back each time the worries came back in prayer to Jesus. I was saying, sorry, Jesus, it's me again. It's come back and I don't know what to do with it. So I'm giving it to you all over again. And then something unexpected happened. A whole 2 minutes went by when I hadn't thought about it at all. Again, I gave it to Jesus, and that 2 minutes spread to 5 minutes, and then to 10, and then to half an hour. In those in-between times, I had peace. I didn't think about it at all. The glorious moment came when I realized that I had gone a whole 2 hours unburdened by these awful thoughts. The first day, I can't tell you how many times I gave it to Jesus, but the time in between the prayer and me thinking about it all again grew longer and longer apart. Eventually, I was down to praying in the morning and the evening about it. All I was doing was praying and surrendering. What I got in return was Jesus' peace that goes beyond our understanding. I am so grateful for that time because I learnt something so valuable and it has carried me forward to today. That was to be honest with Jesus and telling him not only what was going on, but if I needed it, to keep on praying until something happened. In Christian circles, there is an acronym, PUSH, push, and it stands for pray until something happens. I learnt the true meaning of that during that time. My husband didn't have cancer back then, but I learnt that prayer really can bring peace. We read it in our Bibles and we trust that it's true, but it's not until something happens and it's put to the test that the deep impact really hits us. I hope that by me telling my story, this passage will come alive for you as it did for me all those years ago. Thank you for joining today's reflection. May Jesus meet you today and fill every place where peace has been missing.